Welcome back to the channel, everybody. This is the Eradicator, and today in this video, the second video out of three, we will be talking about player-to-player transactions, and this is something that has been first confirmed in yesterday's monthly report, that this is something that they have been working on already for quite some time. And finally, Jared has been mentioning it as well in today's Inside Star Citizen when they were talking about this segment when they're showing us the cargo deck, the upcoming cargo deck that are coming in Star Citizen Alpha 3.11, or at least I think it's 3.11. It's funny because if you listen to Jared, he actually said 3.1, so that was obviously a mistake because we've already had 3.1, right? And so this is definitely an app, at least that trade app is definitely an app that we have been needed for quite some time. If we listen to DG360, for example, DG360 always says that he doesn't understand why this hasn't been done since the start, and I think that's because perhaps the devs were not anticipating that trading would be that popular among players. They've been focusing a lot of combat and barely focused on trade. But at the same time, when you look at what people do the most, it does appear that they love to do trading because, well, let's face it, it is what pays the most, at least right now. So another thing that we definitely need when we trade, of course, is security, because there are pirates out there. There are different circumstances that may happen during your train runs, and it's much better to trade in groups than with other people. But then when you hire people, what's in it for them if you can't pay them? So right now there is a chance, there is an opportunity, or at least a means to pay people, and that is through beacons, combat beacons. So you basically use your Bobby class, you trigger a combat beacon, and you put your amount of alpha UEC per minute, and you hope that the right player is going to accept that beacon. Of course, when you do that, the beacon is available for anybody, so just anyone in the server can just tap the left bracket to accept that beacon, and if you're not careful enough, can get paid instead of the right person being paid. This has happened to me several times, and this resulted in me having to give a double payment, one to a random guy who got paid by accident, and one to the actual player who deserved that payment. So what I'm really hoping here with this player-to-player transaction app, or at least this traders app as they're calling it, is that finally we are going to have a decent solution to pay players who are helping us in our trade runs. And not just that, it doesn't have to be players for traders, because apparently they are saying that it's also for commodities. So it could be very possible. Let's say, hey, I just bought, for example, 1,000 SCU of medical supplies, but I can't sell all of that medical supply, or I don't have a ship that's big enough. So let's say, for example, I buy the medical supplies for 16 alpha UEC, and I know that New Babbage is buying them for 18.75 alpha UEC. So you know what? I'm going to sell those medical supplies at 16.5 alpha UEC or 16.75 to another player. So I'm still making a profit, and that player is also making a profit. And I think that if this is also something that we will be able to do once we have this trade app, this is going to open even more opportunities for traders who can eventually turn into brokers. I can totally see a bunch of players buying all types of commodities at some point, storing them, waiting for prices to be a little bit higher, and selling them at a higher price to other people, until until prices get a bit more reasonable, where they can't do that anymore. This is totally something that would make sense, and something that would make the trade game a little bit more exciting, in my opinion. Now, of course, this trader app is also going to be very useful for pirates, or at least people who have less legal activities in mind. For example, let's say that you manage to sneak into somebody's ship. That player buys a lot of cargo and is on his way to sell that cargo. This has happened to me several times when I did a little bit of piracy occasionally. I just ended up behind the guy's behind the guy's head with my gun and say, "Hey, give me a 15,000 alpha UC now, or you die and you lose your cargo." So they would do that, but it's really annoying because that's the same as just paying a player. They have to turn on the Moby Glass and they have to do a combat beacon and make sure that the beacon works, and they have to make sure that I am the right person who clicks on the left bracket. So it is very clunky and very complicated, but it's not just going to benefit traders. It is also going to benefit pirates and other criminals who, well, also want to be making a living of other players. So please, guys, tell me in the chat down below, what are you expecting the most about player-to-player transactions? Is this something that you think CIG should have done before? Tell me everything in the chat down here, and I'll see you guys later for another video where we'll be talking about how pretty and how more beautiful Star Citizen is gonna get. So stay tuned to the channel, don't go anywhere. This is the Eradicator. I'm signing out.